Because reading is what?
Fundamental!
Hello my lovely friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanna, but you can call me Jo. And today we're going to get rid of some books. 2022 was a great reading year for me, and these are the books I read. I think it's time to get rid of some of them. I'm probably going to operate on a keep/donate basis, and I think we'll put keeps to my right, donate to my left. To the left, to the left. Get rid of some books. Make space for more books. First up we have Elektra by Jennifer Saint. This is a keep. Love Greek mythology and I love a cheeky retelling, and I think this has been my favourite so far, so this is definitely a keep for me. Ariadne, also by Jennifer Saint. This is definitely a keep for me, not only because I enjoyed the story a lot, the cover. She's beautiful, but she was also a Secret Santa gift from one of the people I used to work with, so I can't get rid of her. And also, I like them as a set and I wouldn't want to get rid of them, so these two are a keep. Oh my god. I feel like I should make a risk assessment for this stack. I don't think this is gonna end well. Next we have Small Pleasures. This is a donate. I really liked this book. Up until like the last page.
Oh wow!
Our time has come, unfortunately. This is my first donate. Woo! The Wisdom of Sally Red Shoes. I really do like Ruth Hogan's writing style. I've actually read another one of her books already this year. I liked this one more, but I don't think I liked it enough to keep it, unfortunately. So this one is a go.
Bye bye now.
Ugh. Open water. This is going on the keep. This is my last book of the year and I read it in one sitting and I cried. It's one of those books that by page 20 I knew it was a 5-star read for me, and I definitely want to keep it in case I can get any of my friends to read it, because I think everyone would benefit from reading this book. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Meh.
Don't be
rude! Really didn't do much for me, unfortunately. I enjoyed the fact that it was short and snappy, I enjoyed the writing, and I enjoyed the allure of the book, like the essence was good. I might have to watch the movie and I'll probably enjoy that more than I did the read. This was such a sweet read. I wasn't expecting to connect to it as much as I did. And I think it's kind of refreshing actually, because despite the fact that it was a bit like cutesy, like loosey-goosey, there was also some really prominent societal issues. This will be a keep for me, definitely. Crying in Mart. Oh, that's tough. I really liked this book. To be honest, I don't think I'd ever read it again, because I think I got what I needed from it the first time I read it. So I think unfortunately this will be a donate. A hard donate, but a donate nonetheless. The Book Thief. I can't get rid of this book. This is one of those books that I remember reading from the first page up until the end of the book, and it made me sob. I would probably read this again and I would probably sob just as much as I did the first time, so this is a keep. The Sun is also a Star. This was cute, but I think that's as deep as it gets. It was one of the books I read to get back into reading. It did its job, but I think this is a sachet away, unfortunately. Dracula. It's a classic for a reason. This is hard. I don't know if I would keep it, to be honest. This might have to go in a maybe pile. I might have to think about it, because I enjoyed the book. I felt very immersed, but and I know it's of the time, but the sexism in this book was really tough to digest for me. So I might put this in a maybe pile, which I didn't think I would have. If there's a book to do so, it would be Dracula, so this is going in a maybe pile. Where the Crawdads Sing. I read this last year. before the controversy about this book popped up. Regardless of the fact, I don't think I would reread this anyway, so I think this is a donate. Conversations with Friends. Sally Rooney and I have a hate, love relationship where I read Normal People, and it was one of those I thought like I was going to love it, and I did not. I gave it 2 stars. I thought it was so underwhelming.
Just as I thought. Trash.
I didn't love this, definitely not, but I enjoyed it ever so slightly more than Normal People. Still not enough to keep it though. This is definitely a go. Next up, we have Piranesi? I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not totally sure. Please tell me if I'm totally butchering it.
That is not correct.
I read this book in about 2 days last year. The world that Susanna Clarke created was so immersive and visually stunning. I could imagine myself in those halls. I would absolutely love to get lost into this book again. So yeah, definitely a keep. This was another one that I bought at the charity shop. This is definitely a donate. This was quite an interesting book because of the subject matter. If you don't know, this is basically about a family and their baby gets cancer, and the mother and dad have opposing views of what to do with this. This started off really, really strong for me, we know, with the moral dilemma, and then half of this book is set in court and it just got a bit boring. This is definitely a donate for me. We've got Convenience Store Woman next. Unfortunately, I think this is a donate for me. I enjoyed the writing, and I really enjoyed the aspect of doing what you want with your life and not really caring what other people think as long as you're having a good time. But in all honesty, I don't think I would read it again, and I think other people could benefit from reading it, so I think this is a donate for me. Daisy Jones and the Six. This was my second Taylor Jenkins Reid book. My first was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This one felt a little bit flat for me, which I was not expecting. Maybe it was the way the story was told that didn't quite jive with me, or the fact that a lot of the characters I felt were super unlikable. It's so bizarre that this didn't work for me, because I love sort of the 60s and the 70s. I love Fleetwood Mac, and I just love the aesthetic, and I really thought this was going to be right up my lane. And it kind of was, and I think that's why it was so disappointing, because it didn't quite hit a home run for me. But I'm excited to watch the show, and I think this might go in the maybe pile, because I might want to read it before the show comes out. Orbiting Jupiter. This was also a book I got from the charity shop just because I liked the cover and I liked the name of the book. I thought that sounds really interesting. I believe it's actually for children. It just made me sob. This might be one to keep for sad days. Yeah. The Midnight Library. This might be the quickest donate in history of donates. This book was a hot, steaming pile of trash.
And that's the truth.
This took me about 7 days to read. It genuinely put me on the brink of a reading slump. And I know you're probably thinking, girlie, just DNF it. I really struggle to DNF books because I am nosy and I like to know how things end. Bye bye. Good day.
The tea is exceptionally good today.
We have Circe up next. I think this will be a keep, but only because I would really like to reread this. I struggled to get into it at first. I think the writing is stunning and it's beautiful, but I do think it's very detail oriented, which I usually like, but I think because I read this when I was trying to get into reading, I found it a little bit too much. I think now it would be a lot more palatable for me. Yeah, keep. The Girl on the Train. There's a running joke on TikTok that you don't need to buy this book from an actual shop because it will be in any charity shop you ever go into, And I've come to discover that's true. So I think it should go back to the charity shop to join all the other ones. I think at the time I really enjoyed this book. I liked the twists and the turns and the fast-paced nature of the book. But now I kind of look back and I'm like, I don't think it was as good as I remember it being. This is going in the donate pile. Pride and Prejudice. This was a great read, but genuinely tough to get into at first. And I've sort of found that with a lot of Jane Austen's work, that you really have to push yourself sort of in the first half, and then the second half flies by. I will probably read it at some point again. Next up, Women Don't Owe You Pretty. I was underwhelmed. I think that's the right word. I will say I really like the illustrations. They're kind of... But other than that, this book was very much not, you know? It didn't give what it should have gave. Yeah, this book I unfortunately think didn't bring much to the table. I think it's a good sort of baby's first feminism book. It definitely isn't reinventing the wheel in any way, but I also don't think Given was going for that. I think she was going for a more accessible, like, feminist rhetoric, and I think she achieved that. So this is going to the charity shop, and hopefully we get a few feminists from it. The Dutch House. Ooh, this is tricky. The last quarter I found really underwhelming in comparison to the rest of the book. The premise had so much intrigue and so much mystery to me, and just the concept of the house kept me reading because I was like, wow, I really wonder what's going to happen. Nothing really happened, and I felt a bit like, oh. Why did I read all that then? So unfortunately, this is very much a lot of potential, but not great execution for me, so this is being donated. The Secret History. This is a keep. I definitely would like to reread this, mainly because I enjoyed it so much the first time, but also with Richard being quite an unreliable narrator, I would like to reread this and see if I catch on to any of his lies. This is definitely a stay. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. Don't hate me, but this is a donate. Beautiful writing, genuinely so stunning, but I struggled with the fact that it was so beautiful. I feel like this would be the perfect tone for a poetry book. I don't think as a fiction book it stands as much as it would have done if it was a collection of poems, but I would say it's worth a read. This is definitely one of those books where it wasn't totally for me, but I can see why people would love this. So yeah, give it a go if you ever see it anywhere. The Switch. So this was actually my first Beth O'Leary, as I mentioned when I talked about the flat share. This is so cute and it's so sweet, and it made my little fanfic heart go ooh. But yeah, probably wouldn't read it again, to be honest. I guess 3 really is the magic number. I adored this book and I would love to read it again. I read this in Italy and we stayed at a beautiful location, so I would really be interested to see if reading this in grey London would have the same effect it had on me. But yeah, this is 5 stars. Sally finally conquered me, and this was the one to do it. It by Stephen King. This is 100% a keep. I was so scared to read this book. Not because of the fact that it's a horror book, but because of how frickin' long it is. Last year, I think it was in December, I could not for the life of me choose what book to read next, so I asked my partner to help me. I asked him to pick one out, and he, rather maliciously, I might add, picked It, and I might try to get my boyfriend to read it as payback.
It's what she deserves.
Emma by Jane Austen again. Same thing as I had with Pride and Prejudice, where I struggled to get into it and then got to the halfway point and just flew by. I knew the story, so I didn't find it quite as daunting to get into. This is definitely a keep for me. Ghosts. I devoured this book in about a day and a half. It was exactly what I needed to read at the point in time that I read it. This will definitely be a keep for me. The Song of Achilles. I found this book a lot easier to read in comparison to Circe, which surprised me because I already know this story and I was really keen to learn more about Circe because I just love magical women.
The Fires of Love.
I felt like this one was still a bit more accessible. This is a keep. I loved this book. And the last page just ripped my heart out and stomped on it and didn't even apologise. I said thank you anyways. The Night Circus. I loved it, but again I can look back and think that besides the trials and tribulations throughout the book, nothing really happened. It was a fun read and it's very descriptive, so if you're like me and you like description, this is a good one, and the world building was also very good, but I just feel like there was so much build up for very little payoff, which was a bit disappointing. Right, I think that's it. I've done a pretty big dent actually. Let's count. 16 are going to new homes, 14 are staying with me. And we have the 2 rogue ones that I'm not really sure what to do with. I reckon Dracula goes, Daisy Jones and the 6 stays. Oh, my cat's here. Wanna say hello? Come here. Come here. Come say hello to the people. Hi. This is Joni. No? Okay. Bye. You can go now. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and subscribe if you want to, and ring the bell for notifications for when I next upload. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Say bye-bye. Good girl. She just wants to sniff the books.